All right, welcome back to the December meeting for the Hampton Road Ship Model Society. Our third and final portion is show and tell. Actually, we have a fourth portion today. We're going to hold a small auction or conclude our auction after show and tell. So 3 out of 4, I correct myself. All right, let's switch cameras here. All right, Ron?
Yes, sir.
We're ready to continue.
Go right ahead.
All right. Oh. Okay. There we go. All right. Just skipjack we have on the screen here. No one wants to claim the model. Maybe he's left the room. Oh,
That's me.
it's you.
All right. Here's Willie. Finished up. Willie Bennett. The only thing that I really had to do different, bowsprit is supposed to start square, rectangle to round,
Hey guys, do a little bit less chatter in the background, please.
which I've done that before. It should be easy. But with the height of the night heads, I wound up with starting off with a rectangle. So I went back to the plans to figure out what the hell I do here. The opening between the night heads is supposed to be a 1/2 inch. And somehow I got a 1/4 inch, so it stayed rectangular. So I just kind of tapered it down from there and I etched some lines in it to give it some design thing, and it worked good enough for me. The little help from my friends here and some online sources, I came up with a better way of doing decals than I had been doing. I got a better understanding now about doing them this way here, of making my own decals. So I got the Willie Bennett name and I put the registration numbers on the push boat. Did that. And the last thing that I did was put the push boat on because I didn't want it flopping around when I was doing all the rigging. So once I hooked it up to the davit, it flopped over to one side. I straightened it up and it flopped over to the other side. Just kind of typical if there's only 2 line connection points there. So I stopped and looked back and looked at it a little bit more and wound up making a beam to spit up on a davit that would just touch the top of the motor box and put a little glue and a clamp on it. Problem solved. So I made all the little rope coils and stuff and everything. So yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. Made the base, added mahogany and the stand and the base is made, ready to go down to KG for a dome. All that. So
How did you do the bolt rope? You just glue it on the sail.
which one?
Bolt rope, the outside of the sail.
Yeah, this is glue on around the edge.
Sure.
It's kind of like when Marty gave us that presentation on using making sails with silk span. I got a lot of tips from him on doing that, like using that Sobo glue. That's some good stuff.
Looks good.
Thank you. Is it?
You still get it all
Is that what you used for that?
Sobo, yeah. But that stuff lasts like forever. I've had this one bottle for like 10 years. It gets a little thick, but you're going to dilute it anyway.
right.
I got it from, when I bought it, I did buy it online. It's from Joanne Fabrics. I don't know if they have any in their retail stores, but that's who I wound up getting it from.
Bill Altus is the one who gave me that.
Use of Sobo glue. The
Yeah.
stuff dries fast and it dries really clear. I use that for all the rope coils and stuff too to put those on there. So yeah, good deal.
Greg, can I mention one thing?
Yep.
I forgot to say, at the end, if there's any interest in having a hands-on experience with the process, I'm more than welcome to entertain you at my house, and we can go to the halting, get your hands dirty, and see how the process works. I think I did that once before. several folks.
Yeah, you did. I forgot everything.
Yeah. Except for Henry. No, but just let me know if you're interested, and we can pick a time, and we'll just do it. Okay, I'm done.
I'll see you at the end of June.
All
right. Is it all right if I scoot it? So I just, all right,
All right, this is my Smith Island round start I've been working on for a long time.
Don Good for those who aren't seeing his face.
So I've got a few more details on it. What else? A couple more things to do and glue the console down. The hell with that. But I sourced oyster shells that look about right. Pulled a scraper. It's close, but I'm happy with it so far for my second or third attempt on one of those. But yeah, she's coming along. She's almost finished. So,
Is that a
I'm going-
stretch model?
Yes.
And the plan is that a buy boat or is that a, what is that?
Chesapeake Bay Dead Rise. The plan came from there's a book called The Work of Boats of Smith Island. There's 3 types of boats in there. So I just Xeroxed it out and scaled it up to where I wanted it on the home copier. And I was able to, it's not a perfect copy. I took some artistic license with some of it, because I've seen a couple other boats with some things on it I like. I did the boom different and the mast. But it's basically that boat. It's the rear end is staved. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a bit clearer online than it is on the projected
Yeah.
screen.
But it's staved. I'm going to build another one where the stern is chunked. But
Can you describe that? Staved means you get the vertical.
Yeah,
oars.
the planking is vertical. Chunks are literally chunks of wood where somebody's going to take an adze and trim it and shape it. So anyhow, that's where I am with that. And I will use decals for the name and any other lettering and stuff that may go on the vessel. So she's about
What's the
done.
scale?
I'm sorry.
The scale
1/24.
looks very nice.
Thank you. And I'll move this out of the way.
How did you get etched those oysters?
Oh, I'll be at your house.
See Hank well on the screen earlier? Was it just a small little one?
It may have been, I'm
All
I
right.
just noticed.
So Ryland was just asking me to spotlight the screen to show his model better because it was a small image. It was full size on the computer I'm looking at, but apparently online it's only a small box. So I'm going to go back to his model just for a moment so that we get a better image of that because it's really nicely done. Good job, Hank. All right, cool. Yeah, I hope I have time to take a closer look later.
They're not in no line, so they get a good view of it.
Yeah. All right. And this is Stuart, right?
Yes, that's.
Oh, it's yours. Oh, that's right. Stuart's doing the Irene.
Okay, this is the my progress on the Queen Anne Royal Barge of kit by Siren Ship Model Company. I think the last time I had it in here, it was inverted upside down, and I have removed the centers out of it. And right now I am working on the cap rail. And on the port side, I thinned it down. It's 5/64 of an inch, and I'm working on it. It's a very slow process. Probably one of the boringest part of building this model. It's just a lot of sanding. I've spent probably a day and a half already trying to get this thing down, and it's maybe I guess 5 or 6 hours total. But I've almost got the port side done and working on the starboard. You can see the thickness of it. I have taken down the outer edge because that's flush with the planking, but 5/64 is very, I finished this piece in the back right here, and it's very, very thin, but nice little kit. This thing weighs hardly nothing. Y'all are welcome to come up, pick it up. It's, like I said, it's hardly anything in weight. It's made out of cherry, and it's 1/24 scale. That's where I stand on that one.
What wood are you using, bro?
Cherry.
Cherry?
That came with the kit? Yeah, the kit was cut in cherry. It's all laser cut.
Was there much preparation yet? Laser.
No, it went together pretty good. It's just a lot of sanding because the frames are so fragile until you get the planking on them. And once the planking was on, it really got solid. And once you put that cap rail on the top, it was solid. But it's a lot to remove to get it down. 5/64 is hardly anything. It's just,
It's a little less than an eighth.
yeah, when I first looked at it, I kept thinking, is there a misprint? But the way it works is you've got a little molding that goes on the outside, which is a 32nd, and then you have another piece of inboard moldings that will go, and that builds up the thickness of the cap rail to, just a little over 1/8 of an inch. But it's a pretty good little kit so far. A lot of carving to do coming up later, but this is the process just takes so long and it's boring.
Oh, yeah.
Very boring. I mean, repairing the outside was nothing, but the inside is, you got a lot of meat to take off of that thing. Get the ribs and all down to the proper thickness.
Hey, Rylan, I noticed you tend to gravitate towards the to the launches and the ship's boats. What's sort of your attraction to these types of boats?
I don't know. But yeah, because the other one was a longboat. I think it's just that, I kind of like what Chuck's doing. I was really looking forward to the speed well till he decided to make that into a 1/32 scale. I mean, I just don't want a big model. But
I'm the opposite. I like big models.
I've seen the beginnings of the Speedwell. The model is huge.
I know it's 1/48. I was looking forward to it.
No, they got fast real bit.
But then he put it to 1/32. It's just too big for me.
It's a huge model.
How big's the hull, Tom?
It's about 30 inches long.
Wow.
Problem with the Speedwell, the bowsprit is huge.
Yeah.
You add that bowsprit to the model, I mean, you end up.
The intent is to fully rig it, and it's true plank on frame, and it's a beautiful. I saw the beginnings of it. It's beautiful, but it is and there's a lot of wood in it. Boy, there's a lot of wood.
Yeah, it's just a
Everything he does is amazing. It really
He's
is.
coming out with a Hudson Bay sloop, and that's something I'm looking forward to. Also,
Yeah, Bill is working with him on that.
yeah, and that's back to normal size, I think.
Okay.
All right, anyone else?
Yeah, I do want to announce I have a boat for sale. It's a tuna clipper made by Dumas that I bought in 1999. And after looking at reviews of it, it's a little bit too complicated for me, so asking about 35 bucks.
Okay. If you don't get any bites here today, I'll put it on the store. And it'll be just there.
Thank you.
So we can talk about the details later.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep, Sean's gonna go next.
Anybody else?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Unlike me, I'm doing a restoration on a World War II ship. Fellow thought he had a Victory ship or a Liberty ship. Turns out to be a C-1 bulk cargo carrier. It was built by Consolidated Steel, either in their yard in California or Oregon, but that doesn't matter. It has 6 gun tubs for 20 millimeters and one astern for 3-inch 50. We wanted the guns replaced. Well, I can't make 196 scale guns. So I went to Shapeways, and there's a very little bit of material here for $15, but that's what they cost. 6 20s at $15 and the 3-inch 50s.
15 each?
15 each, $117 for all
Wow.
7. Now, yeah, it's a lot of money.
I know, but you can't.
Hey, it's a hobby.
And those
There's no photo etching for
I'm
that?
not buying these. This is somebody else's ship. And as you know, when I do a restoration, I don't get anything for it, but the owner makes a contribution to Mariners Museum. That to date has totaled over $23,000. He will pay for these though, because I'll have to buy those. So he'll give me a check for $117 when it's done. However, as disappointed as I was that it had to be $15 for 2 cents worth of plastic, they're wonderful. I mean, every little detail in the guns is there. So I'll get my very best airbrush and paint them gray, and then maybe fill in a detail here and there with some black or red, make them look like real guns. But they are really, really well done. Anyway, I'm going to leave those here. I have no idea how fragile these things are, but probably pretty fragile if you want to take a closer look. And if it's not in anybody's way, it will be, won't it? Well,
No, I'll just move
okay.
this side.
I'll sit
That's it.
top of it.
$30.
Yep, $30.
Steve, leave it for some of the detail.
All right. All right, what's not working here? Says our next skipper.
I was just thinking I would want to do that.
That's one of the qualifications.
Okay, so from last week, last month, I completed all of the coppering, so that is now complete. And I also completed the coppering as well as the fabricating of the rudder. I'm still working on the to be able to hang it. So here's one grundle that I made. The pintle for it is already on the rudder. So I got 3 more of those to do. For those back during the pandemic, I explained the inspiration for doing this model was a painting that I saw of Siren and Constitution bombarding Tripoli. There was a 3/4 rear view of Siren in the painting. It was in the foreground. Constitution was sailing past her in the background, and they were firing on the castle at Tripoli. So I used that painting as my inspiration for the stern of Siren. Unlike the kit that started this, The kit had laurels and a wreath on the center of the transom. The painting actually had stars, and so I sourced some stars and created that particular arrangement based on the painting, and then the same thing with the name, 2 stars on either side of the name Siren. I was able to find a modeling place out in California that sold 5mm stars. They're gold. So I purchased a bunch of them, and the ones that are on either side of the name are the 5mm, patiently sanding them all the way down to about 2mm to get the profile that I wanted for the name. And I did deviate from the painting. The painting had appeared to look like they were the same color as oak. I decided that I wanted some relief from the maple that I'm using for the model, and I felt like it would create a good balance to the bow where I'm going to leave the figurehead. I painted it white, and I'm going to leave it white. I'm going to add some highlights to it as I move forward. Not in the areas you're thinking. My wife would not be happy if I highlighted those areas. I've started working on some details on the bow, get ready to start putting in the housers, holes. I mentioned last time that I was having a really difficult time in carving up the hair brackets. I did now manage to have 2 sets off screen. 2 sets now that I have worked on. I'm happy now with them. I still have to work on the upper cheeks. And somebody did ask me, I think in the last meeting, what I'm using to actually scribe in the details. And I am using a nail that I bent over, sharpened it a little bit more, but it gives me just the right spacing that as I run it along if I run it along the edge, it creates a groove. So it gave me just enough of a profile that I then went back behind it with a very sharp X-Acto blade, created a little bit deeper impression on it, and then followed up with a very fine pointer that I had in a hand drill. And I just continued to gently scrape it. I think we talked about it isn't patience, it's preservation. Perseverance, thank you. That is about 5 to 6 different attempts to get just 2, and those are the 2 upper hair brackets. I still have the 2 lower ones to do on the model, and I did use Castello boxwood because the maple, I just was breaking them off every 2 seconds.
I'm not familiar with what those are.
So they go. Make sure I don't. So they go essentially right.
They make up the head.
Oh,
They make up the head of the ship.
yeah.
Only the
Okay.
upper one is called a hair rail because it terminates in the hair of the figurehead. That's where it got its name. So
Yeah.
there were 2 more typically.
Yeah, and then the cheek portions that form them will sit, and so there, and then the bracket will fit in to that. I made them in 2 separate pieces, like the kit version.
Thank you.
That's my model.
You intend to antique your brass, or you gonna leave it?
I'm still debating on that. It's actually aging on its own.
Yeah.
It was a really, really shiny penny copper. I used 2 different tapes. The kit came with a roll of tape that made the field, but on the false keel, the stem and the stern, I sourced thicker copper, wider copper than what the kit provided because I saw in the Morgan's renovation how they actually coppered the hull, where was taking it and actually forming a channel piece and that's how they did the outer bands. And so I sourced from a stained glass company in Colorado, the same tape that made the kit, but in wider rolls.
Yeah, I was only thinking though, if you were gonna let it age naturally by handling it, you might.
I'm actually seeing a few
imparting
pieces.
Fingerprints and things like that into it.
There's some areas, I won't point them out, that it's starting to do that. So I will take some dishwashing soap, clean it up, and then I haven't decided if I'm going to use just water and table salt. I've seen some examples of folks doing that, or I do have a solution from Blue Jacket that's supposed to antique
Take
it
in
as
the
well.
bathroom.
Vinegar and salt works.
Yeah. So anything that'll create the electrolysis to make it age. So I'm still deciding. I haven't quite decided yet what I'm going to do with it yet. So, but I will eventually seal it so it doesn't go any further, but I haven't gotten that far yet. Great.
Looks good.
Nice.
Looks great.
Anyone else in the room?
Where did you get the stars again from?
It was a company out in California. I'll look it up on my phone.
The reason why I'm asking is that a lot of the ribbons in the military, you've got stars on it, repetitive stations on it. Would that be about the same size as this?
They're 5 millimeter. That was the smallest that I could find. That was truly a star profile. I could find jewelry stuff that could go down to like 3 millimeters, but it was 1 dimensional or 2-dimensional. It wasn't a 3-dimensional star.
Very nice.
I tried carving them out of wood. There was about 20 attempts, and I gave up. Yeah, I just couldn't do it.
You send info for your brass source, I'll make that available.
And you wonder why.
Yeah, I need
Preservation.
Let me get those out of the way for you. Let me get those out of the way for you. Like I said, I have no idea how fragile they are, but way over here.
Well, that was an awfully big liability.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do that to you, Ron. I know. I'd rather be responsible though. That's good. Okay. Oh, look, you see that? Yeah. All right, well, I picked this model up, probably last year. It's, Victory Models HMS Fly. They make, I think 3 different models of the 6-rate Swan class ships. But the difference between this one and the other two, pretty much it's a copper bottom, which added almost $100 to the price of the model. So I went along with this one. I really like the lines of the ship, and of course the rigging is a lot of it that makes up the aesthetics of the model itself, and it looks like it's fairly challenging. So I went along with it, and I also purchased the upgrade set, which includes photo etching and the cannon carriages. I made one up here just to see what it would look like. If you can see that. But they all come in a sheet that is laser cut. But in the box they have them all cast out of metal, where you don't have to build each carriage, but then you gotta turn around and paint them to make it look convincing for wood. Of course, you know that all the photo etch parts, this is all in a separate little set for this kit. And there's 4 sheets of that. One of them's even got the oars for the lifeboats on the ship itself. And of course, another little set of 2 mm blocks that come from Amati, but I may source those from Chuck Passero at Siren Model Company because these are more squared off and generic than the ones that Chuck makes. I like those a whole lot better. But yeah, I think with the 10,000 other projects I got going on, I'll get to it in probably the next couple of years or so. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It looks like it's going to be a very nice build and very challenging. So
It'll take you a couple of years to build it.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially with life the way it is. But you know, it is a hobby, so take pride in it.
Well, you know, if you ever need any help with that, you know, please don't hesitate to call Bill.
Anybody else in the room? How about online? Is there a show and tell online?
I can show you my beginnings of a model.
Okay, I heard a voice that I don't see.
It's Joe.
No, Mort's not, his lips aren't moving. It's gotta be somebody else. That was Joe, maybe. There's Joe. Mort also raised his hand, but we'll go with Joe.
I have one to show when it's my turn.
All right. Joe, you're up now. Is that Joe?
Yeah, I'm having trouble sharing my screen.
What?
You can see an inset, right?
I see a model with some green and no black clamps on it. And some
That's
green
it.
tape on the stem.
That's it.
Yep.
But you can't see a full screen, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to share your desktop. I don't see that. I see your camera. Are you trying to share your desktop?
Yeah, that's probably why, isn't it? What can you see? Can you see a full-blown image?
Yeah.
We see a framed model.
Okay, that's the Siren Winchelsea, and the uniqueness for me was I wanted to experiment with CNC control, so the bulkhead and the framework are CNC. The negative part of doing it with CNC, let me say the positive part, there's no char. The negative was I had a lot of blowout from the model ply sourced from National Balsa. And that created problems in the gun port cheeks. So I had to skin them where the bulkheads formed the uprights of the gun ports. The design file actually came out pretty well, converting from laser instruction to feeds and speeds for laser instruction to feeds and speeds for CNC control. Right now I'm working on the gun ports, trying to get those framed in and final fairing. I had to rebuild the transom twice because of my own ineptitude. And some error creep in converting the file from laser to CNC. That's all been corrected. And it's in and awaits final sanding. I would not use the National Balsa plywood for anybody that wants to use CNC without some really preventative measures, more clamping down of the plywood. That was part of the problem. It was too laborious for 29 frame
to add extra tie downs, if you will, for the plywood. I had to add the witness marks for the gun ports and the whales by hand. They were done pretty accurately from the image file. But it's on its way finally, and I'll be back when I have more to show.
Good start. All right, Mort, I'm gonna have you go next.
I'm working on the lifeboats for the Victory. This is the launch, and this is the barge. This one was really small. It gave me a lot of trouble. This is the cutter, and what I did was I braced they're all plank-on frame models, and I braced the frames with pieces of wood in between each frame to give it a little more support, because it was really difficult to plank. The floor on this one was grading, as you can see, handmade grading. The floors on the barge and on the pinnace and on the launch, I made stencils and I framed it. This is the pinnace, and we're moving along. There's just a lot of detail to put in, which I'm really excited about. Anchors and ropes, and the anchor hoist, because that's what one of the boats was used for. So it'll be interesting, and we're just moving along.
Mort, how close are you to finishing your Victory?
I have to, all the rigging lines are attached to the masts. The foremast and the bowsprit is belayed. The mainmast and the mizzen have to be belayed. What's interesting is I've been following Longridge for as much as I can. Longridge doesn't mention the lifeboats. So I bought this book, The Boats of Men of War. I thought that would supplement what Caldecraft says, and it does to a small extent. But the Caldecraft plans for the lifeboats are really pretty good. They're a lot better than I thought. But hopefully in another 9 months, I'll be finished with it finally. It's been about 3.5, 4 years. I'm not complaining. I mean, I really like the kit, but I also added a lot to it. I customized it. I opened up the decks, as you remember. I put in some of the admiral's quarters and the captain's quarters, and I furnished some of it. I'm not sure how I'm going to display the boats. I don't know if I want to have them mounted on the deck, because I exposed the deck. So I may put them on the side of the boat, maybe with a couple of barrels in them or something. And maybe I'd like to put some figures on the boat also. So we'll see. Hopefully 9 months we'll be finished.
Right. Nice work as always.
See that.
Thank you.
Did we save the best for last, Joshua?
I certainly hope so. How's everyone doing? All right, let me share my screen. All right, so after 4 years and 2 months, I am done with the Black Pearl. The hull was mainly a kit, but everything above the hull was completely scratch built based off of plans of the Royal Caroline. You can imagine trying to apply real plans to a fictitious ship. There were some challenges along the way, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the result. And Greg, as you remember, basically the way I present the model is as if hands are handing you the model out of the beach with pieces of 8 in the sand. So yeah, it was a long project, but pretty rewarding. And I had right at the end, of course, it's, these models love to present a challenge. And when I was, here it is in its home, which it probably won't move too often from its home. It took up my entire case that I had for it. It barely, I've got about a centimeter of each side of the yard that it fits into. Someday I might build a separate case for it, but at least now it's protected from cats, kids, and dust. And so the model is illuminated. What ended up happening was for the taffrail lanterns, I melted through the LEDs that were provided for it. So I had to go out and take a crash course on Kirchhoff's law. And because basically, depending on the voltage drop of an LED with an LEDs hooked up in parallel, that will impact the brightness of the rest of the LEDs, because basically Kirchhoff's law will set whatever the lowest voltage drop of is for one LED will affect all the LEDs. So going out and sourcing new LEDs, because I had basically destroyed the ones that the kit came with, was an interesting process. So here's the stern section of the model. And it already became yesterday's model, because as you remember, I've been working on the 1350 Tamiya IJN Magami World War II Japanese heavy cruiser. So this is a picture you guys have probably seen before. And the latest has been me working and progressing on the superstructure. And basically on this upper bridge here that you see, these like grading things, they were a real handful. I overworked them and then they became many pieces. But after about 6 attempts, I got through it. And yeah, it's been a nice switch. The photo etch is, it's a bit tedious, but I love the detail that it adds to the model. So that's where I'm at. The Pearl is done, and we're full steam on the Magami, and I'm picking up the other shelf queen that I have, which is the Prince de Neuchâtel, is from Model Shipways 164. I'll be picking that model back up. The hull's mainly done, and then I have a bunch of deck furniture already made, the gun carriages, the gun ports, basically all of the hull details are done. I just need to put them on the model, and then it'll be working on masting and rigging. So thanks.
Very impressive. Congratulations on finishing the Pearl.
That was a nice job. Yeah.
Thank you.
So Josh, I have to ask, what's with the floating head?
The floating head? What do you mean?
Your image.
Because I'm blurred out. Because I don't want you to see the mess behind my head. Like it's I don't know. It's kind of a mess back here, isn't it?
All right.
So
I said we saved the best for last, but did I miss anybody? Nope. All right. So it's
Man, that was a long meeting.
yeah,
Wow.
see, you need a new skipper apparently, or less long-winded presenters, or something else. All right.
Great to like the record.
No, I don't think we did.
They were close.
No, it was 2 o'clock last time. It's only 1:45 now. All right. Well, it's not over. For those who wish to get on some books and other things,
No, I give $5 for this thing.
but you're getting ahead of me.
Yeah, I don't mind. I know Josh can big. I'll be
All right.
seeing him.
All right. So we're going to move on to that next. We'll go through that as quickly as possible. All right. Thanks for everyone for attending. I'm going to stop the recording now.